Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling something pretty heavy. The sheer speed at which species are vanishing. And we're not just talking ancient history here. We mean animals that were, well, common, maybe even abundant, just a generation or so ago. Now, they're gone. Forever.
It's a tough topic, but yeah, really crucial. When you look at the data, the scale is just, it's hard to grasp. We could be losing up to 10,000 species every year.
10,000.
Yeah, and that rate, it changes everything. It tells us extinction isn't some historical event. It's happening right now all around us.
Okay, let's try to unpack that because, 10,000 a year, that's huge. What does it really signal when animals that used to span continents just blink out?
Well, the thing is, unlike, say, the asteroid that hit the dinosaurs, today's extinctions are often driven by lots of human pressures piling up at once. Think of it as a multiplier effect.
They're not just one single cause.
Rarely. It's usually a mix. Habitat destruction, pollution, invasive species arriving, maybe hunting pressures, all hitting the same population simultaneously. It's a stack of problems.
Right. Let's maybe start with an example that really hits home how recent this can be. The slender-billed curlew. It was just confirmed extinct this year, 2024.
Exactly. And this wasn't some super rare bird hiding on one tiny island.
No.
No, the curlew had this enormous range. It bred in Central Europe, but you could find it across Eurasia, down to the Arabian Peninsula, even sightings reported over in Canada and Japan historically.
Wow. So a real globetrotter.
Pretty much. 100 years ago. Relatively common.
So what happened? How does a bird with that kind of range just disappear?
It's almost a classic story, sadly. The sources point to habitat conversion, those core nesting grounds in Central Europe, systematically turned into farmland.
Wow.
And when you lose the place where a species breeds successfully, the whole network starts to fall apart, no matter how far they migrate.
So the population just crashed.
Crashed hard. The last confirmed, absolutely verified sighting was way back in the 1990s in Morocco. And now, well, the official declaration is in.
Yeah.
Gone.
And you see this pattern elsewhere, right? This rapid collapse from multiple hits, especially in, say, water systems.
Oh, absolutely. Take the Thracian shad. This was a fish that only lived in Lake Vistonida in Greece. Endemic.
Okay, what kind of?
It got hit with what you might call the poisoned habitat stack. First, you had industrial runoff polluting the water, sewage too. Then they built canals nearby, which changed the water flow and actually increased the salinity of the lake.
So the whole environment changed.
Completely. The combination was just lethal. The habitat basically became unlivable for the shad.
And it's not just Greece. You mentioned the Chim whitefish in Germany.
Same kind of story. Invasive species moved in, plus wastewater pollution. Wiped out.
And even mammals aren't safe. The Australian Capricorn rabbit rat.
Yeah, that one faced a double whammy. Invasive predators, specifically cats, plus its habitat and food sources were cleared for farms, compounded threats again. What this tells you, I think, is kind of chilling. If these pressures are everywhere, a species needs more than just numbers. It needs, defenses against us constantly changing everything.
It's a bleak picture. But there are maybe tiny glimmers of hope, like the Spix's macaw, the bird from the movie Rio.
Yes, that's a slightly different case. Extinct in the wild since 2019.
Why?
Primarily deforestation, massive habitat loss. And then grazing animals like sheep and cattle prevent the forest from growing back, so literally nowhere safe left for them to live and breed in the wild.
But there are still some in captivity.
There are. Captive breeding programs are working really hard. They're trying to figure out reintroduction, but it's incredibly tough.
Why is that?
Well, these birds have complex social lives, and the genetic pool left is really small. So they're basically fighting for survival in labs, hoping one day they might fly free again. It's fragile.
Fragile hope indeed. Especially when you think about something like the Yangtze River tragedy. The Beligi, the river dolphin, that feels absolute.
The Baji story is just profoundly sad. This wasn't just any dolphin. Its lineage was ancient, distinct. It had evolved separately from ocean dolphins for maybe, 20 million years?
20 million years.
Yeah. And its decline is a textbook example of a species just completely unable to cope with the sheer speed of human industrial change.
China's industrial boom turned the river into what?
A mess, frankly. Highly polluted, incredibly noisy, and crowded with boat traffic. And crucially, the fish they ate were overfished. Their food disappeared.
So there was just no way for them to survive.
The researchers monitoring them basically watched them fade away. It was declared functionally extinct in 2006.
Functionally extinct, meaning Maybe one or two are out there, but not enough to breed.
Essentially, yes. No viable population left. And it was the first cetacean, the whale and dolphin family, the first one ever documented to be lost entirely because of human activity.
That's sobering. And the threat isn't over for that river, is it?
No, the crisis continues. It's now threatening other unique species like the Yangtze finless porpoise and the giant soft-shell turtle there.
It's horrifying, that pressure from industrialization.
Yeah.
What about when the pressure isn't infrastructure, but just demand, greed, like with the western black rhino?
Right. The western black rhino is a stark example of how perceived value, even based on total myth, can become a death sentence. This subspecies roamed Central and West Africa, a big animal, easily over a ton.
And poached. Why?
For the horn.
Relentlessly. For the horn, which is just keratin, like our fingernails.
Yeah.
But it was mistakenly believed to have medicinal powers.
Which it doesn't.
No scientific basis at all. Or sometimes the horns were just used for status symbols, like dagger handles. Purely symbolic value.
So hunted for myths and decoration?
Pretty much. The last confirmed sighting was in 2006, declared extinct in 2011.
It really makes you ask, how fast can perceived value, real or imagined, just wipe a species out? It's a critical question, and that fight isn't over, sadly. Other rhino species are still critically endangered because of the exact same poaching threat.
Okay, so we've seen habitat loss, pollution, poaching. The sources also make it really clear that islands are hotspots for extinction, right? Why are they so vulnerable?
Yeah, islands are tragically efficient extinction zones. It boils down to that fatal flaw of isolation, no defenses.
Meaning?
For millions of years, island species often evolved without any large land predators. So they became fearless, slow, often flightless. They literally had no instinct to run or hide when humans showed up.
Like the dodo, the classic example.
Yeah, absolute classic. Lived only on Mauritius, no natural enemies on land, a flightless bird just wandering around. A paradise until...
Until the Dutch arrived in 1598.
Exactly. And they didn't just bring themselves. They brought pigs, goats, monkeys, and stowaway rats.
Ah, the invasives.
The dodo had no strategy against them. Hungry sailors, yes, but maybe even more deadly were the pigs and rats eating their eggs laid on the ground.
And how long did it take?
Astonishingly fast. Less than 70 years from first contact to extinction. Gone by 1662.
70 years. That's nothing in evolutionary time.
It's an eye blink. And we saw this again much more recently with Lonesome George.
The last Pinta Island tortoise. I remember that story.
Such a poignant one. The species was thought to be extinct already. Then George was found wandering alone in 1971, became a conservation icon.
And they searched for a mate for him?
For 40 years. A massive effort, scouring the island. Nothing.
So what then?
The plan shifted. They tried to breed him with females from a closely related subspecies, the wolf volcano giant tortoise, hoping to preserve at least some Pinta genes through hybrids.
Did it work?
He did mate, and some eggs were produced, but none of them hatched. And then George died in 2012.
And that was it.
That was the end of the Pinta Island tortoise subspecies. His death was the final full stop.
It's heartbreaking. And this isn't unique to Mauritius or the Galapagos, right? New Zealand had its giants, too.
Oh, yes. New Zealand had the moa. Huge flightless birds. Some species stood, 12 feet tall? Weighed maybe 200 kilos.
12 feet.
Massive. And like the dodo, zero fear of predators before humans.
So when the Maori arrived...
Around the 13th century, these giant slow birds were just incredibly easy prey, hunted to extinction within a couple of hundred years.
And that had knock-on effects, didn't it?
A major one. The moa's extinction directly caused a secondary extinction. Its main predator, the Haast's eagle.
A giant eagle.
The largest, heaviest eagle known to have ever existed. Its primary food source vanished, so it vanished too. It shows how interconnected everything is. Lose one piece and the whole system can unravel. New Zealand lost other unique birds rapidly too, like the owlet nightjar and the adzebill, a strange bird with a beak like a chisel gone by the 16th century.
Okay, this is all quite recent history, relatively speaking, but, where it gets really fascinating is looking further back. How long have humans been driving extinctions? It didn't start with industrialization, did it?
Not at all. You could argue the Anthropocene, the age of human impact, really kicked off much earlier. Right around the end of the last ice age, when our ancestors started becoming seriously efficient hunters.
We're talking the megafauna, the Ice Age giants.
Exactly. The mastodons, the woolly mammoths. Roaming North America and Eurasia, big, impressive animals, gone around 10,000 to 11,000 years ago.
And what did them in? Was it just hunting?
It seems to have been a combination. Intense hunting pressure from early humans with sophisticated stone tools definitely played a big role, but it also coincided with major climate change as the Ice Age ended, which drastically altered their habitats, the grasslands and tundra they relied on.
So hunting plus climate change. But why did elephants in Africa and Asia survive when the mammoths and mastodons didn't? They're related, right?
Good question. Location was probably key. Africa and Asia weren't hit quite as hard by the climatic shifts at the end of the Ice Age, so their habitats remained more stable. But maybe even more important was coevolution. Elephants had lived alongside early humans and proto-humans for a much, much longer time.
So they learned to be wary.
Exactly. They likely developed caution, avoidance behaviors. They weren't as naive to human hunters as the mammoths and mastodons might have been when humans first arrived in their territories with advanced tools. Hunting them was probably harder.
That makes sense.
Oh.
Hey, so that's land megafauna. What about the oceans? Did early exploration have similar impact?
Oh, absolutely. The age of exploration unleashed a new wave of overhunting, this time at sea. Take the Steller's sea cow.
Never heard of it.
You wouldn't have seen one. It was discovered by European naturalist Georg Steller in 1741 during an expedition in the Bering Sea. It was this huge marine mammal, like a massive manatee, maybe 9 meters long, weighing up to 10 tons.
Wow.
And apparently very gentle, slow-moving, feeding on kelp in shallow waters.
Sounds vulnerable.
Extremely. Its range was very limited, right where Russian fur traders were active. They saw it as basically a giant floating pantry, easy meat to stock their ships.
Oh, no. How long did it last after discovery?
Less than 30 years, hunted to extinction by about 1768. An incredibly fast wipeout.
Just gone. Like the great auk, the northern penguin.
Very similar story. Flightless bird nested in large colonies on North Atlantic islands. Hunted relentlessly for its meat, eggs, and especially its feathers for bedding.
Easy targets on land, I guess.
Tragically easy when nesting. The last known pair were killed on an island off Iceland in 1844.
And this pattern continued right into the 20th century, didn't it? The Tasmanian tiger, the thylacine. But there's a particularly bitter irony there.
Oh, the thylacine is just devastating. European settlers in Tasmania saw this carnivorous marsupial as a major threat to their sheep farming.
So they hunted it.
They put bounties on it. It was systematically persecuted. The last known individual, named Benjamin, died alone in a cage at the Hobart Zoo in 1936.
But the irony.
The terrible irony is that later studies of its skull and jaw structure strongly suggest it probably wasn't even capable of killing an adult sheep. Its bite force was likely too weak.
You're kidding.
Nope. Its fearsome reputation, the very thing that drove it to extinction, was probably completely overblown, based on fear and misunderstanding.
Wow. Okay, after all that, darkness, frankly.
Yeah.
Is there any chance extinction isn't always final? You hear about Lazarus species, right?
Yes. It's this fascinating concept, named after the biblical Lazarus who was raised from the dead. It refers to species that were thought to be extinct for decades, sometimes even millions of years, and then suddenly reappear.
And the classic example is the coelacanth.
The absolute icon of Lazarus species. This fish was known only from fossils. Scientists thought it died out with the dinosaurs maybe 66 million years ago. It was used as an index fossil to date rock layers. Until 1938, when a fishing trawler caught one off the coast of South Africa. A museum curator, Marjorie Courtenay-Latimer, recognized it was something extraordinary. Pure accident, total shock to the scientific community.
And what's so special about it, besides being a living fossil?
Well, it's just fascinatingly ancient in its features. It lives in deep water, moves slowly. It might have the longest gestation period of any vertebrate, possibly 5 years.
5 years pregnant.
Incredible, right? And it swims in this weird way, kind of doggy paddling with its fins. And those unique lobed fins are thought to be structurally similar to the limbs of the first vertebrates that crawled onto land. A real window into evolutionary history.
Amazing. So are there more recent examples? Have we found other Lazarus creatures lately?
We have, and these offer real, tangible hope, though often mixed with immediate new worries. One of the most compelling is Fernanda the tortoise.
Fernanda.
Yes, a Fernandina Island Galapagos tortoise, found in 2019. She was the first confirmed individual of her kind, seen since 1906.
Wow. So like Lonesome George, but maybe not alone.
That's the hope. It's this ongoing conservation love story, if you will. Researchers are desperately searching that remote volcanic island for signs of others, specifically a male mate for her. She's currently the only known member of her subspecies. Waiting.
Fingers crossed for Fernanda.
Yeah.
Any others?
Oh yeah, there have been some fantastic rediscoveries. Wallace's giant bee, the world's largest bee, hadn't been seen since 1981, then rediscovered in Indonesia in 2019.
A giant bee.
Huge. And the Wondiwoi tree kangaroo in Papua, lost for 90 years, popped up again in 2018. Even a very elusive hummingbird, the Santa Marta sabreewing, was rediscovered in 2022 after being feared extinct.
So what does this tell us? That extinction isn't always forever.
It tells us that gone forever isn't always certain, especially in unexplored places. It challenges our assumptions. But the rediscovery often immediately throws up new conservation alarms.
How so?
Well, take Wallace's giant bee. Almost as soon as it was rediscovered, specimens started showing up for sale online to collectors. The rediscovery itself put it in danger again.
Ugh. So even hope comes with challenges.
Always. The ecological crisis is complex, driven by farming, pollution, invasive species, hunting, multiple factors we talked about.
And the common thread seems to be
Smart.
us.
Pretty much. If you have to simplify, humans are the common denominator. In the destruction, yes, but also, importantly, in the discovery, the research, and the potential protection of what's left.
Right. We're the cause, but maybe also the solution sometimes. We know Fernanda the tortoise is out there, waiting on that volcano.
And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Considering how vast the deep oceans are, how many remote mountain ranges are barely explored, those isolated islands, what other ancient lines, what unknown Lazarus species might still be out there? Hiding, just waiting for a keen eye, maybe your eye, to confirm their impossible survival?
Something to definitely think about.